Well, good evening. Welcome to Tuesday night, House of His Presence. And we're just excited to worship tonight, come together and be in the presence of our King. And we welcome you to get your elements ready for communion. We'll take communion together at the end of the hour. So we've been talking a lot about God's plans, and we've been talking about perseverance and endurance. And sometimes, a lot of people have a preconceived notion that following Jesus or being a Christian is going to be easy. Or maybe it's going to be, just a little easier for me because, God's on our side and He has all these good things for us. And that's true. But following Jesus and living for Him is not always going to be the easiest. We're going to have trials, and we're going to have things happen in our spirits. We're going to have things happen in our lives that we might not understand why they're happening, but God is going to use those things for good. So it definitely takes perseverance to live this Christ life. But what I want to talk about tonight is the fact that, and I say fact because I truly believe this, is that God has victory for us in mind. It was always His plan from the start for us to live victoriously. And I don't know if maybe in this past COVID season or even before that, sometimes you feel like, you know what, God, I need a win. I feel like there's been low after low and loss after loss, and I don't know if I can hang on anymore. I need a win. Like, come on. But here's the thing, even when it doesn't look like we are winning, okay, we are winning. Because when we persevere and know that God has a good plan for us, we can live from a place of victory. It's his plan from the beginning, and it's cemented in the death and resurrection of His Son. So we know we have victory. What I'd like to read from Judges tonight. As I was thinking about the word victory and battles and warriors, I started to think about Deborah. And in Judges chapter 4 and 5, we find the story of Deborah. And Deborah, she is a prophet. She is a female judge. And I believe she was a worship warrior. So I'm going to start at the beginning of chapter 4, but I'm going to kind of jump around so that I don't end up reading the whole thing. But the people of Israel, they kept right on doing evil in God's sight. And God sold them off to Jabin, king of Canaan, and Sisera was the commander of Jabin's army. And the people of Israel, they cried out to God because He had cruelly oppressed them with His 900 iron chariots for 20 years. But Deborah, she was a prophet. She was a judge over Israel at that time, and she held court under Deborah's palm. And the people of Israel, they would go to her with matters of justice. And she sent for Barak and said to him, "It has become clear that God, the God of Israel, commands you, go to Mount Tabor and prepare for battle. Take 10 companies of soldiers. I'll take care of getting Sisera with all his chariots and troops, and I will make sure that you win the battle." And Barak said, "If you go with me, I'll go. But if you don't go with me, I won't go." And Deborah said, "Of course I'll go with you. But understand that with this attitude, there will be no glory in it for you. God will use a woman's hand to take care of Sisera." And Deborah got ready, and she went with him. And 10 companies of men followed him. And Sisera was told that Barak was on the move. And he immediately called up all his chariots, 900 iron chariots, along with all of his troops. And Deborah said to Barak, "Charge. This very day God has given you victory over Sisera. Isn't God marching before you?" So God routed Sisera, all those chariots, all those troops.
he routed them before Barak. And Sisera jumped out of his chariot and ran, and Barak chased the chariots and the troops, and Sisera's entire fighting force was killed. There wasn't one person left from his army. Now, Jael, she ends up being the one to kill Sisera, and she shows Deborah and Barak that he has been defeated. But on that day, God subdued Jabin, king of Canaan, before the people of Israel, and the people of Israel pressed harder and harder on Jabin, king of Canaan, until there was nothing left of him. And then Deborah and Barak sang. They sang a song of worship. They sang a song of victory. They sang a song that starts with, "Hear, O kings," right? "Listen, O princes, to God. Yes, to God I will sing and make music to the God of Israel." And this whole chapter 5 is a song of victory that points to God's glory and all that he's done for them. And it ends here with, the land was at rest. The land was quiet for 40 years. So Deborah, as prophet and as a judge, her insight comes from being in the presence of God. One of my favorite things is that Deborah held her counsel not in a building, not in a court, but under a palm tree. Palm trees are one of my most favorite tree. I love the palm tree. But for Deborah, the palm tree is a symbol of victory. When Jesus rode into Jerusalem, people laid the palm branches before him as a path to victory. So I love that she's already operating out of this place of victory. His presence must become the primary desire of our hearts, cultivating a lifestyle of praise and worship, because here is where we become warriors and we start to operate out of that place of victory. In order for Deborah to judge righteously, in order for her to have prophetic insight and instruction, she would have had to have been spending a lot of time with God. So she's spending time in the secret place, dwelling in that place in stillness, in prayer, and in worship. And then God's will became clear to her. So justice is being served through what she knows as just, because God has told her what is just, what is righteous, when to move and when to stay. And worship takes us to that higher place with him, where we see from his perspective, we learn his thoughts, and we receive his embrace. This is also the place where we become filled, we become strengthened and prepared. He prepares us for the battle that's ahead. We cannot fight a spiritual enemy with natural weapons. So this is where we put on our armor. And the amazing thing is that he readies us for our own benefit, so that we're empowered in our faith, we're strengthened in our trust and our hope, and we come into a relationship with him that's rooted in loyalty and in love. And he does all of this in the secret place, preparing us for battle. And then when we stand ready to fight with him, he says, "Oh, here, the victory's yours. I've already set it in place. I've already gone before you and fought. I've already won the battle. Here it is." And as I was thinking about this, I thought of like a young child when you're teaching a kid how to do a puzzle. And you're showing them how to flip the shapes over. You're showing them how they fit together. Just, how to do your borders and all of these things. But when it comes to setting that final piece in the puzzle, we're always going to give it to the child to set that piece in place, and now he gets the joy out of it. He gets the confidence in it, and it's like, look what I did, right? And there's this confidence and this accomplishment as they see the finished picture, and I believe this is what God does for us. Mm-hmm. He teaches us, he strips things away that are no good, and he shows us that he's trustworthy, And then when we trust him enough and love him enough to be bold enough to say, yes, God, send me, use me, and we do the final piece. He's already set us up for victory. So when we live out of that place of worship and victory, this dwelling place, now others will be drawn to it. Because Barak knew that the presence of God was with Deborah.
Yep.
Even knowing Deborah's words, if Deborah said, hey, God has given you the victory, he could have gone and been victorious. I believe that. But he knew that Deborah had his presence, and there was no way he was going into battle without making sure he was taking it with him. And then they sang. Now, we are fighting our battles by singing the song even before the win, praising through our breakthroughs, right? But I love how there's a whole chapter dedicated to a song, a new song. And they declared the works of the Lord, and they gave him glory, and then there was rest. So a new song for a new season. And that's our mission tonight at HOHP, is we might not be singing a new song. We know these songs, we've sung them before. But the new song begins here in our heart and in our spirit. And when we sing that new song to usher in a new season, for our personal lives, for our families, for the church, and for this region. Let's worship and usher in a new season tonight. To be found in his presence, to be warriors of worship, and may our battle cry be a new song. Yeah, God, we worship you tonight. We worship you. We thank you that you have already given us the victory. So we worship tonight from a victorious place. Thank you, God.
Better than I could dream. Gonna be better than I could dream. It's gonna be better than I could dream. Gonna be better than I could dream. Into tomorrow, we will see the goodness of our God. It's gonna be better than I could dream. Gonna be better than I could dream. Gonna be better than I could dream. Gonna be better than I could dream.
One seed can move a mountain. One yes can change it all. One moment
could dream. Gonna be better than, better than, better than I could dream. Gonna be better than, better than, better than I could dream.
One seed. One seed can move a mountain. One yes can change it all. One moment in your presence, that's all I ever want. And I prophesy into tomorrow.
We will see the goodness of our God.
It's better than,
Better than I could dream. Gonna be better than, better than, better than I could dream. It's gonna be better than, better than, better than I could dream. It's gonna be better than, better than, better than I could dream. You turn ashes into beauty, mourning into joy. It's who you are, God. It's who you are. You can move the tallest mountain with the smallest seed. It's what you do, God. It's what you do. You can turn beauty,
into beauty.
mourning into joy. It's who you are,
It's who you are,
God.
God.
Who you are. You can move the tallest mountain with the smallest seed. It's what you do, God. It's what you do. You turn ashes into beauty, mourning into joy. It's who you are, God. Who you are. You can move the tallest mountain with the smallest seed. It's what you do. What you do. Gonna be better than, better than, better than I could dream. It's gonna be better than, better than, better than I could dream. Gonna be better than, better than, better than I could dream. It's gonna be better than, better than, better than I could dream.
Yeah, God, we believe that the victory that you have lined up for us is going to be better than anything that we could imagine, better than anything that we could plan out ourselves. We've sung your goodness, God. It can't be stopped. One seed, one tiny seed of faith can move a mountain. One yes can change everything. So when we come here tonight and we give God our yes, it's going to be better than we could dream. So let's prophesy over our lives. Let's prophesy over this region tonight that it's going to be better than we could dream, and that we will see the goodness of our God. I prophesy into tomorrow. I prophesy into tomorrow. I prophesy into tomorrow that we will see the goodness of our God. I prophesy into tomorrow. I prophesy into tomorrow. I prophesy into tomorrow that we will see, that we will see the goodness of our God. And it's gonna
Be better than, better than, better than I could dream. It's gonna be better than, better than, better than I could dream. It's gonna be better than, better than, better than I could could dream. It's gonna be better than I could dream.
Believe it, it's gonna be
better than, it's better than I could dream. It's gonna be better than, I could dream. It's gonna be better than I could dream. It's gonna be better than I could dream.
And I prophesy into tomorrow. I prophesy into tomorrow.
Yes, we do.
Come on and
Prophesy into tomorrow. We will see the goodness of our God.
It's gonna be
Better than I could dream. It's gonna be better than I could dream. It's gonna be better than I could dream. It's gonna be better than I could dream. It's gonna be better than I could dream.
It's gonna be
Better than I could dream. Yeah. Hallelujah, Lord.
Let praise be a weapon that silences the enemy. Let praise be a weapon that conquers all anxiety.
Let it rise. Let praise arise.
We sing your name in the dark and it changes everything. We sing with all we are and we claim your victory.
Let it rise. Let praise arise. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. For fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side. Forever lift you high. With all creation cry, God, we praise you. Oh, we praise you.
Let praise be a weapon. Let praise be a weapon that silences the enemy. Let praise be a weapon that conquers all anxiety.
Let it rise. Let praise arise.
We sing your name in the dark and it changes everything. We sing with all we are and we claim your victory.
Let it rise. Let praise arise. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. For fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side. Forever lift him high. that overcomes the raging sea. Let faith be the song that claims the storm inside of me. Let it rise. Let faith arise. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. For fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side. Forever lift him high. With all creation cry, God, we praise you.
We'll see you break down.
We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. For fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side. Forever lift you high. With all creation cry, God, we praise you. Oh, we'll praise you. Oh, we'll praise you. Oh, we'll praise you. Oh, we'll praise you. This is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you, we praise you. This is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you, we praise you. This is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you, we praise you. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. For fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side. Forever lift him high. With all creation cry, God, we praise you. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. For fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side. Forever lift him high. With all creation cry, God, we praise you. Oh, we'll praise you. Oh, we'll praise you. Oh, we'll praise you. Oh,
We'll praise you.
oh, we'll praise you. Oh, we'll praise you. Oh, we'll praise you.
Sing your praise tonight from that new song. Spring up that new song.
Oh, we'll praise you. Oh, we'll praise you. Oh, we'll praise you.
We'll see you
Break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. For fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs